Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm filming an eyeshadow palette ranking video. So if you guys like to hear about newer palettes that I've tested out, hear my thoughts, how I rank them, then just keep watching. Okay, I'm so excited because I'm finally sitting down to rank my April and May palettes, you guys. I know this video is so overdue and I just wanted to get this out of the way, but it's so hard for me to find the time to film, and usually I'm like doing a million things at once, so I finally was able to gather up my palettes and rank them. So I have 11 palettes that I tried in the month of April and May. And if you guys didn't know, I had a baby in May, so it was a bit chaotic. April was also a bit chaotic, so I don't have that many palettes that I tried in April and May, so I thought I'd just combine them and make one video. And I know it's a little bit annoying that it's older palettes, you know, in the world of YouTube. 2 months ago is so irrelevant when it comes to beauty YouTube, but hopefully you guys will still enjoy this. So technically I did try 12 palettes, but I'm not gonna rank my dearest friend's eyeshadow palette because this is obviously number one. This is the Resurgence palette from Heather Austin and Unearthly, one of my favorite humans, collabed with one of my favorite indie brands and created the most beautiful, perfect baby. And so I'm not going to rank this one because I literally talk to Heather every day. I'm 100% biased. Love Amanda from Unearthly, and they did such a fabulous job on this collection. Love the eyeshadow palette, love the cheek palette, the gloss is amazing. So if you ever wanted to try Unearthly, this is the collection to try, let me tell you what. Okay, let's start off with the palette in the 11th spot. Okay, I feel like nobody's gonna be surprised that I'm picking the Lost in Wonderland palette from ColourPop and Alice in Wonderland. This color story is just not it for me. You guys know I love colorful eyeshadows, but this one just didn't make a whole lot of sense. It has a bunch of pastels, but none of these are matte shades that are good for deepening up the outer corner, which I like to have some contrast. I don't really know what you would pair this sparkly berry shade with other than maybe this pink shade, and then you would have to use this like matte glitter shade as your black shade, which is what I did, I believe, in the look. But overall, I think this is just like a pretty palette to look at, but when it comes to actually creating a color story, it stumps me. So not one of my favorite palettes at all, and so that's why I'm ranking it in number 11. Okay, I feel like you guys are gonna feel like I'm taking you on a journey down memory lane because these palettes are old according to YouTube standards. So in 10th place, I had to put the Natasha Denona Retro Glam palette. I think this is one of my least favorite palettes from Natasha Denona, but I love buying her palettes. I love collecting them. So I did go ahead and purchase this, even though it's not really my ideal color story. I feel like I maybe got this during the Sephora sale, so I justified it by being able to get a discount on it, but this palette, I just don't like this color story. Again, there's like some really good palettes that launch in April and May, but this one was not it for me. I don't want to sound like a broken record, but I am just not inspired by this color story, so therefore it is ranking at number 10. Okay, in 9th place is the Wheat Belt palette from Geology Cosmetics. They actually sent this over to me, and again, this is a half neutral, half colorful palette. This is a very cool concept, but the colors are a little bit light on me, so they don't appear as punchy as they do in the palette. I think if you want to support a small indie brand, this might be one that you want to consider. The other thing I don't love about this palette is, of course, how bulky it is. It is a very chunky palette, and I love that brands try to make their palettes more unique, but I just don't really prefer this type of packaging, so I'm ranking this at number 9. In 8th place, we have the Melt Electric palette. Now, this one honestly looks like they drew a lot of reference from existing palettes. I definitely see a little bit of like their Vita palette in here, a little bit of other palettes kind of thrown in. I don't think it's that. It's quite a unique story as far as the colors go, but I also feel like it's not one that you would want to buy if you're trying Melt for the first time. I don't feel like this is it. I just miss the old Melt. I miss their really unique color stories. I mean, the last palette we got from them is their kind of 10-year anniversary palette, and they just did a revision of their dark matter stack, which I totally get is like an homage to where they started, but it's such a snooze fest of a palette. So I'm really, really hopeful that their holiday palette this year, their Halloween palette, is gonna blow our minds, because I feel like Melt is one of those brands that's in trouble. They used to be so hyped, so well loved. I mean, I remember a time where I stayed up till like 2, 3 in the morning to buy a Melt palette, and now it's not a thing for me at all. So yeah, hopefully we see some improvements. Okay, in 7th place is a gorgeous palette. This is the Bless palette from the collab between Sydney Grace and Glitzy Fritzy. And this is a beautiful color story, very, very wearable. I mean, you guys know me, I love all colors. I think most palettes are wearable, but this one I feel like appeals to the masses, and so many of you commented on my video about this palette, about how much you love the color story, how much you love the creators. So I think that's very, very cool. I am a longtime fan of Sydney Grace. You guys know this is nothing new, and I just love their metallics. Very, very creamy. And I love that she picked like some pops of color, but also some very wearable everyday shades, and you can just do some mixing and matching. But just look at how wonderfully those shadows swatch. I never have to question how beautifully Sydney Grace's shadows work. Okay, next I'm ranking all of these together in 6th place because I couldn't choose, but honestly my favorite is probably Begonia, because it has like the most contrasting color story. This one totally gives me like Valentine's vibes. I also love like the grungy greens, so you can do a look with that, or you can do a more pinky girly look. Love the Fleur palette if you're into purples. This has everything you need. I know a lot of you had commented saying you hated the pan size on this, and you're not wrong. I'm not really a big fan either, but it's nice for brands to switch things up, and as long as the formula is good at the end of the day, I'm happy. And these all have a wonderful formula. So these two are kind of the more interesting color stories. If you're looking for a solid neutral palette from Ace Beaute and you want something small, this guy is amazing. This is the Cala palette, and I even packed this in my hospital bag. I didn't do a ton of makeup when I was in the hospital giving birth, but I did use it because we did do newborn photos, and so I think I popped like one of the shades in my crease. But this is a solid palette. I definitely want to do like a new like neutral palette video, and I'm definitely planning on including this, so I love that. My least favorite is the Flora palette, only because you guys know I struggle with yellows, but this is a solid palette. And again, another beautiful neutral leaning palette from Ace Beaute. So overall, that collection I grouped as a number 6 because it has amazing formulas, and you guys know the more palettes, the merrier over here. Okay, in 5th place, we have the Scooby-Doo palette from Glamlite. Now, to rank this one, you guys have to like forget the fact that they've come out with 2 other collections since this palette. I was honestly not expecting to like this palette because it's so big. Overall, I don't like the design of this palette. I don't like all this empty space. This palette could have been half the size, but I get it. They were trying to kind of make it appealing to, I'm sure, big Scooby-Doo fans. I'm not a big Scooby-Doo fan, so I couldn't care less. But beautiful formula, fun color story. Obviously, it's a giant rainbow palette. I will say, in hindsight, I do prefer the Rick and Morty palette. I think it's a little bit more unique because it has those brighter shades in it. This one, I feel like if you have Glamlite's other palettes, you might be able to kind of dupe this out. But I think the strong suit in this palette is, of course, the amazing packaging. And I think they did a really good job with the second coming of Scooby-Doo. Okay, in fourth place, we have the Lethal Cosmetics Wildflower palette. This one was also sent to me. I did get a fresh copy because my other one had a shattered shade in it. So they immediately replaced it, which was so kind. I've been working with Lethal Cosmetics for a long time now, and they've also launched a new set of shadows since this one came out. Those ones are fabulous. This is really nice. I feel like they've made so many improvements in their formula, and these duochrome shades are so pretty. Their mattes are getting really vibrant and even better than when they started, which I love. I love seeing progress in brands, and I'm so happy with this Lethal palette, and I'm really excited to continue playing with this because this is such a fun color story for me. Okay, next we have number 3. This is number 3 only because this color story is not like 100% me, but I had to rank the Odins Eye. This is the Jewels and Gems palette. Now they launched 2 palettes that were inspired by like earthy tones, and there's like a whole thing. I think the collection's called the Jord collection. I might be butchering that, but anyway, this palette is honestly my kind of cool tone neutrals and just gorgeousness. I will be ranking the green palette. It's called like Stone and Rock in June because I only tried that palette in June. I wasn't able to use both of the palettes before the launch, so when I did my video on this collection, I was only able to use this one. It had literally, I had just had my baby and I filmed with this. Anyway, all of that aside, such great memories, right? So anyway, this palette is so beautiful. I'm telling you guys, Odins Eye just keeps getting better and better, and I'm so happy about it. It's so nice that they did something neutral because their last collection, that was their influencer collection, was more colorful, more spring, more summer. So I think they really needed a neutral palette to kind of round up their collection. And also, if you guys didn't know, they just redid their Norns palette, which I'll try and throw up a picture for you guys, but I actually purchased that one because they repackaged it so it has the same pans as their newer palettes, and they also are upping the formula to match these newer palettes. So I'm very excited because Odins Eye is definitely one of those brands too that has improved with time. So if you liked them when they first launched, try them now because their formula to me is like amazing. Their metallics are so beautiful. This palette is gorgeous. The green one is amazing. I created the most beautiful green eye look with that palette. So highly recommend this palette if you guys are interested in trying neutrals from Odins Eye. And then we have from Nomad Cosmetics, they launched the Okawangu Safari palette. So this is number 2, and it's just beautiful. Again, it's a half neutral, half green palette. I feel like April and May, there were a lot of neutrally palettes, and you know, their last palette was a very colorful palette. So I think this was the perfect way to balance out their collection as well. I'm trying to think of what other neutrally palettes they have, and they do have some, but again, they have also upped their formula, and I think this is gonna make their brand very approachable for people that want those neutrals, and they also did such a good job with the packaging. And overall, I'm just so happy to be affiliated with a brand like Nomad because they do some really cool things, and that's the fun part about YouTube for me, is like watching these brands that I've had relationships with long term, seeing them kind of do new things. It's just so fun, such a highlight for me. And then the number 1 spot goes to, ta-da! It is the Into the Night palette from Glaminatrix Cosmetics. I am not sure if this is still in stock or not, but I will definitely link all the palettes that I featured and my affiliate codes in the description box for you guys to make it easy for you to shop if you're interested in shopping. If not, that's totally fine too. Just watching this video till the end does support my channel, and I am so appreciative of you guys for all that love. So anyway, let's talk about this palette. I think this is such a fun color story. If you are intimidated by this, what I would do is break it down by quads, and then it gets really interesting because I think this is such a beautiful color story for looking for something fun and vibrant. We've got this more like gloomy, grungy quad right there, and then this one too is a little bit of a smokier vibe, but still absolutely stunning. I did a look with these shades as one of my looks with this palette, and I absolutely love it. I think this might be my favorite Glaminatrix palette. So yeah, I gave this the #1 spot, and I love it so much. So that is it for my April and May ranking video. Like I said, I do this every month. I just combine these two because I'm so far behind on videos that I do as series on my channel. So I wanted to combine it, knock it out. My next ranking video is going to be me ranking all my June palettes. And yeah, it's a little bit rough for me right now because I'm still navigating life with 2 little kiddos, and eventually it'll get better, but right now I literally film and upload the same day because that's all my schedule permits for me. So I really appreciate you guys' patience and still following up with my channel. One of my big goals is to grow my channel so I can do this pretty much full time. It's such a great job. So I really appreciate you guys supporting me, sticking with me while I navigate some big important life changes. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'm going to have a summer giveaway soon. I've been gathering up products, so definitely make sure you're checking out all my videos. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will see you very soon. Bye!